you guys, I guess you saw other people having success with listings by making calls, and you said, huh, if they make calls and get listings, maybe that's something I should look into?
Yeah, so it was after probably my 4th month in full time, I realized, okay, this isn't working. I'm not generating the business I need to be generating. What are people doing? How are they getting these listings and having, the success that I want to have? So I hopped on YouTube actually and started finding some prospecting people, coaches, I would use the term loosely, and started implementing their methods.
Okay, what about you, Michael?
Yeah, I think about the same. I was about 6 months into it. I was like, what am I doing? And then I left KW, went to Century 21, and we did a lot of property management there. So we got our business from the property management. But tenants never really wanted to use us as agents because we were the bad people, holding them accountable for their homes. So that was a problem with property management. You didn't get a lot of the sales from the buyers of the tenants because they didn't like you. So I just realized that making phone calls and talking, doing things that other people aren't willing to do is where it's at.
Okay. You guys remember making your first phone call or attempting to make your first phone call?
Oh, yeah.
Brutal.
How
Didn't know what to
nerve-wracking was
say.
that?
It was terrifying. I mean, I don't know that I did this, but I feel like I probably hung up when they answered that first call. I just hung up the phone.
Yeah,
It
takes some courage to get on
Yes.
the phone and talk to a complete stranger and try to sell them over the phone.
Yep.
You remember your first call, Michael?
Yeah, back in the day, I remember my first phone call. I was like, yeah, okay, I think I fumbled and I might have made the appointment. I don't think I ever went to it because I didn't know what to do.
And you guys have to remember, nobody's first time is ever spectacular with anything.
No.
Okay? So in this case, you have to realize by the time you make your 5th, 6th call, all of a sudden it starts to feel not so bad. You're like, oh, what was I so afraid of? And then when you finally have a great conversation, what does that do to your psyche when you finally talk to somebody that's receptive?
Yeah, your
Yeah,
kids
just
excited.
through the roof. Yeah, your belief in yourself really starts to come up.
Now, another thing too is when did you guys decide, or when did you guys stumble upon a group of people or an organization that lives, breathes, and eats the cold call culture?
Yeah. So that was probably month 7 or 8 for me when I had been going through all of these different people I was finding online. And it wasn't really clicking. A couple months here, I'd tried this person, just wasn't working. Couple months, jumped to this guy. And then I would say month 7 or 8 is when I found Mike Ferry organization and found these are the real top producers. These are the people who are doing 75, 100 deals a year, every year. And I need to know exactly what they're doing because I want to implement whatever they're doing.
How about you?
Yeah, same with me. Back here, when I came here in 18, Milton was here. So we started in our old office making phone calls, me and him side by side, and it just started there. He stayed straight to listing, and I was introduced to Facebook Marketplace, where I killed it there with buyers, which wasn't really good for me now because, the buyers are hard to deal with right now. So I turned it around, and I got my coaching, and I just do listings. I refer out buyers.
Good.
I don't work.
So you have to remember, when you work with buyers in this market, you're not in control of your destiny. Your income is solely dependent on that buyer's mood or their ability to make a decision or their ability to qualify for financing. There's too many variables when you're a buyer's agent, right? A lot of people make a great living being a buyer's agent, but there's too many variables and it's a lot of work. Think of the countless weekends you spend showing properties, writing offers, offers getting accepted, offers falling through, showing that customer houses again, writing another offer, inspections, too many contingencies. But the listing agent, once you list the house as a listing agent, it's gonna sell eventually to someone, and you just sit back and you let the buyer's agents show the property. You let the buyer's agents write the offer. You tell them what you want as a counteroffer, and they go back and write it up and do the work, right? It's totally dependent on that buyer if they make it across the finish line. You as a listing agent, you're gonna get paid regardless, right? And now you control or can dictate what's gonna happen with your future as far as your income is concerned, because once you get a listing, you have an 85% chance of closing it and getting paid. versus a buyer is only a 46% chance of closing any given buyer that you work with. I like those ratios better, don't you? Now, it takes a lot of discipline to make calls. I'm going to ask you guys, will you have fortune or opportunity with listings if you just call once or twice a week?
Absolutely not.
So why is consistency so important with the game of picking up the phone and making calls to generate listings?
It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game, 100%.
Yeah.
And the more consistent you are, the better your skill set becomes. It's
Exactly.
just like practicing every day for anything you do. If you
Right.
play a sport, you know, you're going to practice. You play an instrument, you're going to practice every day. It's the exact same thing. And yeah, it's a numbers game. I mean, everyone's ratios are different. Some agents have to talk to 150 people before they even get a lead.
And some people can make 30 calls that'll guarantee them one listing appointment.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But guess what? That person starts role playing at 7:30 every single morning,
7 a.m.
7 a.m. every single morning, every single day. They make calls on the weekends, they make calls in the mornings, they make calls in the afternoons. I don't know about you, but I'd rather have a job where I make $650,000 a year and all I do is this. Because there's a lot of worse things I could be doing
Absolutely.
to earn
Yeah.
a percentage of that out there. But you know, I'm in AC picking up my phone, just having conversations with people. Now, why is it, you guys mentioned, why is role playing, you said just like going to the gym, it's a muscle memory. And by working it out every single morning, over and over and over again, you guys can literally script in your sleep.
Yeah.
We've actually, we script before. We script partnered before.
yeah.
So we've actually done
You
it together.
told me you just went to a,
So it was a
what was it called?
prospecting clinic from Mike Ferry, my coaching
Prospecting
program.
Clinic. So Mike Ferry is a coaching organization. And what they do is they coach real estate agents on how to generate business exclusively through cold calling. Okay? And that's what they teach. That's what they breathe. That's what they eat. Now, you went to a scripting clinic. Now, what was that scripting clinic like?
So it was a Zoom. It was 2 days. It was 4 days, 4 hours each day, 55 minutes, then 5 minutes, 55 minutes, then 5 minutes for 4 hours. It's your A game. So you started calling your warm leads, people that will pick up the phone and you can have a good conversation with. And then you get into FSBOs, for sale by owners, expired, just listed, just sold.
So you're doing 55 minutes of scripting.
And then 5 minutes of break. And then 55 minutes of calls and then break. So there was 13 of us in the program for 2 days, 8 hours total. 50 appointments were set
Between the group.
between 13 people, and I made 18 appointments
Isn't that
myself
crazy?
out of 50, out of the other 13 people, out of 50 made.
So 18 appointments. If he just lists only a quarter of those,
I was beast. I was beast.
Yeah,
mode.
that's
he's gonna get-
amazing.
He's,
It's
gonna
crazy.
get 4 to 5 listings just off of those appointments.
Right.
Now the reason it was because he was in an environment where he had to show up. And when you're that consistent and that militant with your phone calls, you're gonna get results. If an agent says, "Oh, I only call 3 hours a day," well, what kind of results do you get from 3 hours a day?
Yeah, not much.
Now, if you say, "I call 6 hours every single day," you're gonna get results and it's gonna be consistent because you're doing the same thing every morning. What do you guys start out in your morning? Give me an example of your morning routine when you get up and say, "Okay, it's time to get to work." What do you do?
So I would start role play at 7:30.
Okay.
I'm up at 5:30, but that's not work
So who do you
related.
role play with?
So I'm in a group. There's about 20 of us, give or take. So every day we have a new role play partner that we get assigned, and we have the script that we're assigned that we're going to role play for that day. So we role play for a half an hour. Usually one of us goes first as the agent, and then we swap turns, and then I'm on the phones at 8.
Okay, so you have 30 minutes of scripting, which is like a warm-up.
Correct.
Before a competition. So you want to warm up, you want to stretch, and then after you're done warming up and stretching, you hit the phones. And by the time you've already role played for 30 minutes, picking up the phone, it's just like
Very easy.
continuing. It's very easy. Rather than just waking up and walking to the gym and just picking up a 200-pound weight, right? So That's really good. How about you? You start what
I
time?
start at 7 a.m.
Start at
I have
7 a.m.?
I have 10 script partners, one from 7 to 7:30, then 7:30 to 8, and then 8 o'clock I'm on the phones.
So you're on the phones 8
8
a.m.
o'clock.
Why do you start making calls so early?
Well,
Because if you don't, someone else will.
yeah, we want to be first at calling somebody, and you want to be last at
Yeah.
making that phone call.
Yeah, you want to get them, you want to be their first touch because they are going to get multiple calls throughout the day, throughout the morning. And the more calls they get, the less likely they are to answer your call.
So being disciplined, waking up early, and being the first to call makes a huge difference in whether or not you see the success that you're looking for. So you have to be disciplined. Because if you're not on the phone at 8 a.m. turning on your dialer, you've lost the race.
Yeah, by 9, your pickup rate drops significantly by
Yeah.
9 a.m.
So let me ask you this. What does a daily call schedule look like for you?
Yeah.
8 a.m., right?
Yep, so I start at 8 personally. I like to do 2 90-minute sprints. So I'll go 8 to 9:30. Then I'll take a 15, 20-minute break, maybe like a mindset break, read something, just go walk around, kind of get the blood flow, and then come back and do another 90-minute sprint and knock that out before the lunch hour. And then my afternoons are saved for admin work. If I don't have too much admin work, I'll get back on the phones again.
Okay, cool. So when do your calls stop?
About 11:45, 11:50.
Do you ever, so after you make your calls, do you clear the schedule for face-to-face appointments? Do you pick up the phone again at all in the late afternoon or evening? What do you do on those?
Yeah, so I like to dial at least one evening a week between the hours of 4 and 7 to try and hit people that didn't pick up in the morning. And then, yeah, I like to leave my afternoons open for appointments because that's the goal. Face-to-face appointments. Maybe I'll go door knocking that day if I don't have an appointment around a new listing and try and generate some leads that way.
Okay, Michael, what does your daily call schedule look like once you start at 8 a.m.? What does it look like? How long are you?
So 8 a.m. I'm there for about 50 minutes, and then I'll take a 5-minute break, 10-minute break, regroup. And by the way, before this, I don't watch any news. I don't listen to anything. I have Metallica playing in the background. With great headphones, they cannot hear it. So no news in the morning. I'm free of any clutter. I don't even read emails in the morning. So I'm free of all that. I'm just cleansed.
So what he does is he says no distractions.
No distractions.
Because if you have distraction in the morning, then what starts to happen is you start to lose track of time.
Your
And
thoughts.
you start thinking of other things instead of thinking about your main objective.
Yeah.
Getting people on the phone and being ready to script so you're loose and you're ready to go on the phone.
Yeah, I'll continue till about 11 o'clock, and then I'll quit for a little while, do some admin work, emails, put out some flyers. And then my afternoons are for appointments, drop-ins. If I didn't get any appointments, I will go door knocking to these expireds, and I do that.
Good.
And the afternoon is for appointments. In the evenings, I like to call like maybe 2 or 3 times a week. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 is perfect
Yeah.
time. But it's my dinner time, and I like to eat, so it's kind of a hard part. But I truck through it and call.
So can you guys tell us, and you guys can alternate with answers, but can you tell us the different types of people that you can call on the phone to procure a new listing?
Oh, yeah. Here, I'll go. Expired.
FSBO,
Okay.
Just listed.
just olds,
Old expireds.
warm leads,
Okay.
Yep.
referrals,
Database.
sphere of influence.
Probate.
Yeah,
Divorce.
Probate, I don't touch that one.
And then
I'm good. You can have that one.
And
I'll
then
do
the other
probate.
the other two are going to be just general circle prospecting,
Yeah.
and then for rent by owner.
Yep, for rent by
Yep,
owners.
you can do that one too.
Okay. And then of course you guys can also contact absentee owners.
Yep.
Okay. So, how do you make all these dials to all these people? Where do you get the leads? Where do you find these potential people that you can list?
Yeah, there's a lot of dialing services and platforms you can use. I use what's called Vulcan 7.
Vulcan 7. Vulcan.
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 Oh my goodness.
Okay. Vulcan 7 is a platform that provides you leads for expireds, for sale by owners, all the types of people we just listed. They will give you these lists of contacts, and you can take those contacts and upload them to a dialer system. What type of dialer systems are out there?
Well, I actually dial through Vulcan 7.
Okay, so you use Vulcan 7, which has a dialer and provides you with leads.
Correct.
What about you?
So I have Arch Agent, which is the same thing. It's just a different platform. Different numbers and names come in from different places.
So that's Arch Agent,
Arch
A-R-C-H.
Agent. Arch Agent. Yeah, it's a
Agent.
different platform.
And they also provide you with leads, contacts for expireds, for so by owners, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
I have all that.
And what do you use as a dialer mechanism?
So I use that as my single line dialer. So if I'm going to do expireds, I call using that because it's a single line dialer. But then I have my Mojo, which my data pushes from Arch Agent directly to my Mojo every morning. And it's my triple line dialer. So I want to call through, like power through numbers.
So what does that mean for those people watching right now? What is a single line, triple line? What is that?
So a single line is you're only going to call one number in the database. So a triple line, I can call 1, 2, or 3 people at the same time. So there's a bar up top, it'll dial 3 people. 3 numbers will come up and it says dialing. And whoever picks up first, I talk to. And then it goes into, I've created a little static thing, you know, hello, hello, I can't hear you. And then it leaves that message and then it calls them back when I hang up. So it goes to all 3 of them down the line. You can talk to a lot of people.
So the cool thing about these dialers are their technology that will make the dials for you. So you sit there with your headset
nothing.
You sit there, just bounce a ball or look at the wall, and then it's dialing a bunch of numbers for you. So either a dialer can dial 1 number at a time for you, or if you're advanced and you want to cover as much landscape as possible, you're going to use a triple line dialer where it's calling 3 numbers at any given moment. So you cover more space and you can basically get more contacts by it calling 3 people at a time for you. And if somebody answers, you hear a tone, a beep?
No, I don't have that. It just,
Okay.
I have to wash the screen. It'll just come up and they'll say hello and I just get on my script.
And then basically what happens, so let me ask you guys this. So whether you're using Vulcan 7 as a dialer system, Arch Agent as a dialer system, Mojo as a dialer system, and there's one more, Red X.
Red X.
You
Yep,
can
have
use
that.
Red X as a dialer system. Now each of these dialer systems will dial for you, and each of these dial systems will also provide you with these leads, these names and numbers. What else do the dialer systems provide you as far as technology is concerned?
I get all emails. You get emails? I get
Yeah.
all emails.
Yeah, the emails will
Yeah.
be listed, the names of the owners on the property, all of the possible phone numbers associated with that name and that address.
And what kind of other features do these dialers possess to help you streamline and stay on top of your customers?
So it has it has a CRM built into it where I can set appointments and times and it comes through my phone as an email and reminder system.
Okay.
As
So
well.
what it does is it keeps track of all the calls you made, and you can leave notes about your current phone call and schedule a follow-up reminder call to call that person. Let me ask you a question, since we're on the topic.
Sure.
How important is it to keep notes on your phone calls and schedule follow-up phone calls?
That's very important.
Oh, it's very important. Yeah, I mean, your follow-up calls is, you know, a lot of times where you're going to set the appointment, you know, or pre-qualify them if you weren't able to pre-qualify them in advance on your first call.
So let me ask you this. Would you say you set more listing appointments on the initial phone call, or you set more listing appointments on the follow-up phone call?
It's 50-50 for me. I'm
I
pretty
would
good.
actually say the same. Yeah.
Kinda good about it.
Because I mean, the goal is to set the appointment immediately. Because again, they're getting a lot of these phone calls. So if you're not setting the appointment on that first touch,
Somebody else is.
someone else is.
So you guys have to realize this. 50% of their listing business comes from the follow-up call. How good are agents at follow-up in general?
But follow up, we have to call someone back.
They suck. Because
terrible.
why? Agents want instant gratification. Hey, do you want to list with me? Nope, screw off. Hey, you want to list with me? Nope, bye-bye. But in reality, if you go back to 50% of those people with follow-up calls, they'll list with you. They're like, you know what, I'm glad you called me back because I've been thinking about it and I do want to list my home for sale. You're like, oh, I'm glad I called you back too. While all the other agents may not have followed up and called back again. So sometimes, let me ask you this, speaking of follow-up, how far back will you actually go to old leads in your dialer that maybe are 3 months, 6 months, or even a year old.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
I'll
6
go.
months.
I'll go
easy.
back as far as I can. If I still have notes in there about them, and I know the home hasn't been listed or sold since we've spoken, which is very fast to find out with the dialer. Yeah, I'll give them a call. Or if someone tells you that they've rented the property out and they did a 12-month lease, great. I'm going to call them in 6 months and make sure that they're happy with their tenant. And then I'm going to call them 3 months later and ask them when they're ready to list the home for sale again, when the lease expires.
Yeah.
I'm sure some people here are thinking, I'm afraid to make a phone call because somebody might be mean to me.
Oh.
Somebody might yell at me.
I get all the
Ask you
time.
This is an interesting one here.
Okay.
Can each of you tell me your worst experience on a phone call?
I don't know if I can say that on camera. What was said to
Or
me.
text. I get them all the
Yeah.
time. You MFer and
Yeah. Oh,
calling the
yeah.
police. I got that the other
you
day.
get cursed
Right here.
out. I'm going to report you to the board. Where do you live? Every name under the sun. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you have to remember.
And sometimes they'll call you back, and they'll call you back, and they'll call you
Oh,
back.
yeah.
And they'll
Because
call
they
you
want
back.
to say, hey, do you like your own medicine? I'm calling you back. I'm annoying you. But the thing is, these people are just annoyed and frustrated because so many agents are calling them.
Yeah.
But guys, I'm not going to let somebody's feelings get in the way of me earning an income.
Correct.
You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, sorry you feel that way, but if you want the calls to stop, let's relist your house. Right? I have a solution.
Yeah.
So they can do that all they want. My cell phone is on my other desk when I'm prospecting, so it doesn't bother me.
Yep.
I don't mess with it.
So-
It can be blowing up over there, and I don't care.
So when you're making dials, what is the most important thing? Is it to get through as many possible dials as quickly as possible so you can cover as much landscape as you can? Or do you take the time to leave a voicemail on each call that you make or send a text and all
No
that?
voicemail.
No voicemail.
No voicemail. No.
Why is that?
I'll get you in trouble. You're not allowed to leave voicemails.
Okay,
Yeah,
so rule of
no.
thumb, they say it's not a good idea to leave voicemails.
Don't leave voicemails. Do not leave a
If you
voicemail.
leave voicemails, you're basically leaving a calling card there. So the thing is, with a voicemail, they're not going to be like, hey, I'm calling you back because I got your nice voicemail. I want you to list my house. The probability of that happening is slim to none. It's almost like if you're holding an open house and somebody walks in and says, I want to buy this house right now. It rarely happens. Chances are they do want to buy a home, but it's going to be another house somewhere else. Same thing with making a call. If you leave a voicemail, they're not going to say, hey, you just left me a voicemail. I want to list my house. Plus, that wastes a lot of time.
Correct.
By the time you left a voicemail, you could have gone through 6 other additional dials. So you don't want to do that. Not good. Plus, you're leaving evidence at the scene of the crime.
Yeah, you don't do
If
that.
somebody, for some reason, because most of these calls are scrubbed for the do not call list, but if somebody's got an axe to grind and they've got your voicemail, they're like, I got your name, I can look you up, I'll come and find you, So most people aren't like that. I'd say, how often are your calls pleasant versus bad?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's the raw apples up there. There's
Yeah.
some bad.
I'd say 90-10.
Yeah.
90% of the time people are maybe not kind, but they just say, I'm not interested in selling my home, and they hang up.
Yeah, and that's what we expect. Why? Because the no's lead to a...
A yes.
But that's just lies. I mean, they had their house for sale yesterday.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm like, really? It's like a game. It's like, and that's what makes it more fun. It's like, how am I going to get this listing? I know you're lying to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you turn around because I'm good at it.
Yeah.
So what's the way? So they teach you guys not to think on your own. That's dangerous. Don't think on your own. Don't make up anything cute to say. Say exactly what the successful people say. Say exactly what's been proven to work. So you don't have to make up your own little. Just say. So what's the best comeback when somebody says, "Hey, I say, hey, I'm calling because I see your home expired," and they say, "I'm not selling it anymore."
Really? How? I don't understand. As of midnight last night, it was for sale. What has changed?
I don't
What if
know.
you got an offer today?
I'm just irritated. But
Oh, yeah.
he said, what if I brought you an offer today? Would you sell?
Yeah.
Then you can really quickly determine if they're full of shit or they're serious. Because if they're like, no, I don't care if you came with a full price offer, I wouldn't sell. Okay.
Right.
Sure.
But then they might say, well, yeah, if I had a full price offer, obviously I'd consider it. Great.
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 Talk about
That's
that.
why we need
together.
to meet. Let's get today at 5 or tomorrow at 10. Which is better for you?
So what I want to do real quick is show you guys.
Were you calling yesterday? Did you make calls yesterday?
Yeah.
I had some dude texting me, he's gonna call the police and everything. I'm like, really? Come on, man. Really? Maybe the cop will buy a house.
I've
I don't
had
know.
a cop tell me that he was going to send the cops to my house.
What? Cop?
Here's the fact of the matter. Most people love to threaten because they feel that's the best way to make them stop. But the thing is,
Yeah.
once they hang up the phone and they realize how much trouble they have to go through,
I gotta do it.
they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
You know? But yes, you don't want to call anybody on the do not call list because we can't do that.
I
So
do.
a lot of these places that you get numbers from,
I do.
the numbers you get from, they say that they're already scrubbed from the do not call list. Now, sometimes
That's
people
true.
say there's a loophole, like if you have your house for sale, you're inviting people to call you,
Not true.
right? For sale by owners, hey, you can't call me on the do not call list. You put a sign in your yard with your phone number. Like, do you want to sell your house or not? Because I'm calling you to tell you I have a bunch of buyers in my database. Are you interested? Right? So it's kind of hard for somebody to back that up, especially if they're inviting calls by putting their phone number on their lawn. Right? So what I wanted to do, Michael, we have his dialer pulled up. So I want him to kind of
My
show
mojo.
you his dialer, what he uses, how he pulls his leads, and how he leaves his notes and follow-up reminder calls. And then after this, we're going to see them role play with one another, just like they do every single morning.
Oh, wow, that's gonna be
Just so
fun.
you could see how the dialogue goes and how they strengthen their muscle. Okay? Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, so, you want me to get up there and show them?
I can move it for you.
Okay.
All right, so let's start right here. So right here, properties calling list. This category, what is this for?
That is all of my categories, for sale by owner, expireds, for rent by owner. Those are all my main, those come in every morning, updated.
So if I click on expired, it's just going to pull in
It's gonna-
expired leads.
It's gonna show you all the expireds down here, it's the phone numbers, emails. It has the dates, the property, address, and everything.
So now, because we have a system like this, it sucks all the data off of the public record and says, okay, today we give you 40 brand new expired contacts to call.
Yeah.
So once I select the expired leads, what's the next step?
So you go up to the green button,
Uh-huh.
right there, yep.
So you click
The
on
dialer.
Power Dialer.
Power dialer, click on that. And there's different settings in here all set up. Where the blue dot is, that's leaving off where you started. It depends on what setting I'm calling and I'll leave,
So
like,
it says, do you want to start from where you left off?
Right.
Or do you want to start at the top of the
right.
list?
Right.
So what that means is the top of the list, the top one is this morning's data. So I have that set for yesterday, I was calling FSBOs. So I was going back into, I think, September FSBOs. So that's why I had there. And on the right, it
Caller
just shows
ID?
you my caller ID. So that is a Google phone number. Never use your phone number with that.
So he's saying, when he calls, it gives you the option to put in your cell phone number, or you could generate a Google phone number, and he generated a Google number, and he
Yep.
put his Google number there.
Yep.
So if anybody calls from prospecting, it goes directly to his Google account, and he's not getting a bunch of backfire on his actual cell phone.
Yeah, but I don't get text. It comes from my Google.
And here below it says, "Do you want to leave a voicemail drop?" What does
That's
that
blank. So a voicemail drop is when, you've reached Michael or you've reached Diane. Leave your message. You can leave a message, but that's a no-no. You don't leave
mean? So
messages.
he's
It's blank.
basically, it gives you a feature where you can leave a custom greeting and record it. So anytime somebody doesn't pick up, it'll automatically leave a voicemail you've pre-recorded. Okay? Next step. It actually asks you how many times do you want the line to ring
Yep.
before you hang up. He's
Yep.
got it selected at six rings.
Six rings.
And then
Yep.
that's what you guys
That's
are
the
taught.
average. Yeah, that's the default. I just
So
left it there.
they've
Yeah,
determined
6 to 7.
through studies that, hey, we've kind of determined anywhere from 6 to 7 rings, if they don't pick up, they're not going to pick up. So that's what you want to set as your feature. And then it says, do you want a script to be displayed?
No, because you have mine in my hand.
Okay. So next step, you come down here and click this or
Yep.
this.
Click on the right.
Right here?
Yeah, right
Start
there.
Power dialer.
Yep. And click, yep, there you go. And it's gonna scrub, and it's gonna tell you how many numbers are in there. Why is it not going? There you go. Okay, so it's filtering out some and it's going to add. So yeah, there you go.
So then
If you scroll down a little further, the button's a little further down on your screen. There you go.
Okay, so
On
down
that.
here it says start dialing.
Yep, and then you can start the dialer. But there's another step. So you have to get your cell phone out, and it's going to give you a phone number to call and type in the PIN.
So then you've got to call this cell phone number on your cell phone, and then you've got to enter this PIN. And by doing that, it syncs your phone calls with what's displayed on your screen. So if somebody answers, all their information is now displayed on the screen, and you can see their information and start scripting. Now, what is the benefit for the two of you? What is the benefit of using a script when you make your calls?
So when you have it scripted, you're saying the same thing every time. It's
Which-
not changing.
So if you say the same thing all the time in every single phone call, then you can have measured results.
And sometimes you don't have to look back at your scripts.
And what do you like about using scripts?
Well, you're getting the important questions out of the way. You're finding their motivation, you're finding, what their plan is moving forward, and you're really kind of interviewing them because it's not just do they want to hire you, but do you want to hire them?
And then that's also part of the script. And when you say these things, it makes the seller think, what do you mean you don't want to take my listing? Right? And then it kind of makes them want to validate all the more reason you should list their house, right? So I'm going to give you this, okay? We'll let Michael start it off. He will be the agent. And Lana will be this potential seller that he's calling. Sound good?
Yeah.
I've done this before.
All right.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, I'm looking for the owner of 123 Maple Street. Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Perfect. I'm Michael with Preferred Real Estate Brokers. I'm calling about your home for sale. It came off the market last night as an expired listing, and I'm calling to see when do you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your home?
Got it. Yeah, I think for right now we're just going to kind of take a break, but thanks for the call.
Oh my God. So let me ask you this question. If I get your home sold in the next 30 days, would that cause you a problem?
A problem? I don't really know, but I think for right now we're just going to maybe hold off through the holidays.
Okay, I can appreciate that. Let me ask you, the holidays, there you go. See, sometimes I get stumped too. So yeah, so your home was up for sale till midnight last night. What were your plans? What if you got a contract yesterday? What were your plans? Where were you going to go?
Oh, sure. So we're moving to the coast. We have another property over there already.
Oh, okay. So just you're not moving out of town. So okay. Are you downsizing? Maybe moving with family?
We do have some friends over there, but yeah, like I said, we just have that property already, so we were kind of ready to get rid of this one.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So what do you think stopped your home from selling?
I think the interest rates are just too high right now, and nobody wanted to, buy our home at that price point with these rates.
Right. Yeah, I hear that a lot. I do hear that a lot. If I was to show you how I get home sold with an 18-step process, would you be open for that?
Possibly, but if you want to call back maybe next month, like I said, for right now, we're just going to kind of take a breather.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand. Sometimes waiting is a good thing.
Sure.
Right. Okay. Well, I would like to come over today and tell you how I can get your home sold.
Okay.
That was bad. So even sometimes I screw up. So yeah, maybe it's the pressure, but yeah, I would love to, come over and, maybe waiting is a good thing, but maybe, seeing other options is a great thing too.
Sure. Yeah, if you want to call me back later today, maybe we can set something up for Friday.
Okay, well, let's make that appointment, and then I will get back to you. I'm going to be sending you a package of information if you could read that and go over it before our appointment.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Perfect. Okay, thanks. Yeah, it was kind of rough. And I script practiced for an hour this morning, so maybe it's probably just all the
But
people.
you guys have to realize, this is the
easy way.
Yeah, you think that's easy?
This is how you build
She's
the
tough.
machine. You've got, honestly, remember, when you make those first few calls, they're going to be bad. You're going to crash, you're going to burn, you're going to stumble, you're going to shit, and you'll hang up the phone. It happens. But the thing is, this is what it takes to master the craft. So even the people that are like on top of their game, they still hit a roadblock. Or sometimes that seller says something that just totally throws them off. They're like, I wasn't expecting you to say that.
That's why you
Yeah.
have to know your scripts and be good with objections, for sure. But they don't know we're just practicing. They don't know. They're like, oh, this dude's calling
Yeah,
me.
they don't know that you're reading
They
from
don't
a
know.
script.
Yeah.
They don't know you from. You could run into them in the grocery store in a half hour,
Yeah,
and they're not going
they're
to
not gonna know
know
you.
that they were just on the phone with you. So,
So what I want you guys, everybody has this in front of them. So, for instance, I'm going to give this to Lana.
would you mind setting that on the table? Thank you.
Take whichever one you'd like. But essentially, she's going to now be the realtor, while Michael is the seller. Okay? And, but if you do this over and over again for 30 minutes, then you're like, okay, I'm good, I'm loose, I'm warm, let's do this.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can do expired.
You want expired?
Yeah, let's do expired again.
Yeah, okay. You got it there?
Yeah. All right.
I tried to go without it, but I probably should have stuck reading it.
Yeah, I have these kind of up on my wall or in front of me so that I can kind of go
So you
through
just
them.
keep them up, tape them on the wall right in front of you, staring back at you the whole time. And I noticed that sometimes when agents make calls, they put up a mirror. So they have the script here and a mirror here. That way, when they're on the phone call, they'll catch themselves in the mirror, and they'll kind of be like, "Oh, okay, I forget. I'm still on." It's like you're on camera.
You make sure you're smiling, because they can hear that on the phone.
They can feel your cadence over the phone.
Your enthusiasm, rather than someone, yeah, are you selling your home today? I'd like to come over and see your home. It's not fun. Who wants to hire him?
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun joy to work with, right?
Yeah.
Okay, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, I'm looking for Michael.
Yeah, speaking.
Hey, Michael, this is Lana with Preferred Realtors. I'm sure you figured out that the listing on your home has expired, so I was just calling to see, when do you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your home?
Oh, I think we're just going to decide to wait.
You decided to wait. Okay, terrific. If you sold this home, where were you headed next?
We're moving back to New Jersey.
Oh, New Jersey, that's nice. What's in New Jersey?
Our family.
Family? Okay, wonderful. How soon did you want to be in New Jersey?
Well, we were supposed to be there about 5 months ago, but our home didn't sell.
5 months ago. Ouch. Okay. And Michael, let me ask you, what do you think stopped the home from selling?
I don't know. You're the expert. You tell me.
Well, that's actually the reason for my call. I'd love the opportunity to do just that. Could we get together today at 4 o'clock, or would 5 be better?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to deal any more realtors.
Not sure if you want to deal with any more realtors. Fair enough. Let me ask you, how did you pick that last agent that you listed with?
It was a friend.
A friend. Okay, got it. And what did your friend do that you liked best?
We had an open house and he made cookies.
Open houses
Yeah.
and made some cookies.
Yeah.
Well, that was generous
They,
of him.
they invited the neighbors to come over. That was pretty
Okay.
nice.
Okay,
Fun.
so some passive marketing techniques. Got it. What do you feel that he should have done?
Sell my home.
Absolutely. You're 100% correct. So, Michael, let me ask you, what do you expect from the next agent you choose?
Someone to communicate with me and sell my home.
So communicate and get the home sold. Fantastic. I would like to apply for that job, sir.
No, I
Are
don't
you
know.
familiar with the techniques I use to sell homes?
No, I don't know who you are. You just called me.
Oh, you're kidding. Well, what would be a great time to show you? Today at 3, or would 4:30 be
No,
better?
I really don't want to interview anyone else. I mean, we kind of maybe want to use the same agent, but I mean, I guess we could see what you have to say.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, before you put pen to paper again and get yourself tied up in another multi-month-long contract, you owe yourself at least a second opinion, right?
I do.
Okay, so would today at 3 o'clock or 4:30 be better?
Okay, 3 o'clock's fine.
Wonderful. I'll see you at 3 p.m.
Sure. So you think go?
And you just do that over and
Yeah,
over
and over and
and
over
over
and over
and
and
over
and over and over.
again. Can we get a round of applause for these two brilliant actors?
Yeah, awesome.
Now, once you do this over and over and over and over again, right, you start to get what's called fatigue.
Yes.
Okay? You kind of feel like I'm banging my head against the wall over and over every day, and I'm giving myself this punishment. I want more results. I want more listings. And you start to say, you know what? Maybe I won't make calls this morning.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just do it for an hour, like after at 11. And it's kind of like when you go to the gym. At first, you're like, okay, it's New Year's Day. All right, I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. I'm going to get this body right. And you're working out every day, every morning, 6 a.m. All of a sudden, 2 weeks in, oh, I guess I don't have to go at 6. I'm going to go in like at 8. And the next thing you know, oh, I go every other day now. Oh, I only work out on Fridays. And now, do you see the results you want?
No.
So a lot of times, in order to get into the gym, you need a gym buddy. Somebody that's going to hold you accountable, and you know you have to show up, because if you don't, you're going to feel like a loser because they're standing outside the gym waiting for you to show up. So in the world of making calls, is there an equivalent of something like a gym buddy?
Sure, yeah. So, there's prospecting groups that are just on Zoom. You can find one to join, and there's other people in there doing the same thing you're doing. So there's this level of camaraderie. And if you start to not show up, they start to call you or text you and ask you, where are you? I haven't seen you in
Script
a
partners,
while.
yeah, accountability partners.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can actually have accountability partners as well, where you guys can pair up and say, look, we're holding each other accountable to make these calls and do these things. The role play group that I'm in, which is not your practice, that's your warm up. We pay for that. It's not a free thing. So there's your accountability there monetarily. And if you don't show up, you get booted from the group.
So it's one of those things where it's like, hey, we know if you volunteer to show up for this, you may or may not show up. But we know if you're paying to be here, you're going to show up. Otherwise, you're an idiot for just wasting your money, right? So that's a monetary accountability. And some people react better to that. Now, I've actually seen you calling before, and then I'm like, I look at his computer, I'm like, who are these people on your computer screen while you're making your calls? What is that all about?
Like
There's
my
other
dialer?
video. Yeah, there's other video of other people
Oh.
making calls.
Oh, like in the
Zoom calls?
room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So like I'm in a couple of groups where we all get together and prospect together in the morning, and there's like 6 or 7 of us, and we're all prospecting together. And the best thing about that is it gives you momentum. You see someone else making phone calls, and it makes you work harder.
Yeah,
And especially if you see somebody, hey, I
set
just got
an
a listing
appointment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're like,
Oh
this
yeah.
son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, I get a call.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times while they're making calls, you'll see a little couple of video screens on their thing and watching other people while they're calling and prospecting as well. So it kind of gives you that motivation to say, okay, they're here, I'm here. If they can do it, I can do it. And sometimes they'll listen to your call and then they'll jump in and be like, whoa, what just happened there? And you're like, oh, I just was talking to this guy and he said so and so. They're like, why don't you try this next time?
Yes.
It works for me.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, awesome, thank you.
Yep.
Right? Now, at what point did you guys determine that maybe if I'm making the calls every single day and I start to get fatigued and I start to feel, I doubt myself or my skills, when did you determine that getting a coach was the best decision for your business and why?
Well, for me, last year I was working with a lot of buyers, and I wanted to change that. I didn't want to work with buyers. I was tired of them driving around, and I can't stand looking at homes. I hate it. I don't like watching homes and people picking out things in the homes. It's not me. It's just not me. I list them. So I figured I need to change my business around, so I'll get a coach. And Mike Ferry, our coach, that's what we do. We prospect for listings.
And has that been able to, by having a coach, how's it affected your business or your ability to get more listings?
100% changed what I'm doing. Last year I was 100% based on buyers. This year I'm 100% based on listings. I actually won't personally take a buyer out. I'll send it out as a referral.
And what about you, Lana?
Fantastic.
Why and when did you determine, you know what, I need a coach and I need it for these reasons?
Absolutely. So it was probably month 6 of being a full-time agent. And I, again, was just not getting the traction that I wanted, It was just kind of, like you said, banging my head against a wall, but in a different way. And that was, March of 22 last year. And that took me from doing one deal, to just exploding my business. And this year I will have worked with one buyer. All of my other,
Me too. I think I like 1 or 2 buyers.
yeah, all of my others will be sellers.
Listings.
So
All
all
listings.
your business are listings.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
That's the best thing because you can
And
like.
the buyer came off of a sign of mine, so I
Yeah.
double-ended the deal.
So you can go on vacation. Last year, I took a cruise to Alaska, and I had 3 closings while I was on the ship. I was at 7 in the morning with the fog, you couldn't see the water, in Alaska, making phone calls, working on my deal that was closing that next day. So
You can't do that with a buyer.
you can't do that with a buyer. You
Buyer's
have
like,
to
"Where
be
you
here,
at? We wanna
hold
see
them.
houses." Oh, I'm on a cruise. Okay, screw you. I'm getting an agent from Zillow.
Well,
You're not
that's
there for
exactly it.
inspections.
Yep. Yep. So
You're not there for final walkthroughs.
the way I look at it is being a listing agent, you're an employer. So I employ the MLS, the Realtor Association, Super Business, the E-Key, inspectors,
Photographers.
photographers,
Transaction
titles,
coordinator.
Buyer's agents.
buyers.
Yes.
There's 7 people I'm employing because I had a listing. So I'm actually helping the
and
community.
it's right. So because they decided to pick up the call and find a seller who's willing to list their home, he now gave a buyer's agent an opportunity, a buyer a home to purchase, an inspector a home to inspect, a title company to title a home, and home warranty companies,
there you go, 8.
Yeah.
homeowners insurance.
9.
All that stems from their willingness to pick up the phone. Now, let me give you another example. You have a buyer that's working with an agent. The buyer says, I want this type of house, and I want it in this type of neighborhood, and I want this type of car garage and driveway and pool. And then the buyer's agent says, hey, I sent you everything that's available on the MLS. It's just not available. But if it comes up and it comes available on the MLS, you'll be the first to get it in an email. No. Because why? That buyer's agent is waiting for somebody like this to find that buyer the perfect home. So I could say, oh, thank you, thank you. Hey, buyer, I found the house for you. No, you didn't. They found the house and listed it. You just happen to have an email that got sent to the buyer. Wouldn't it make sense if you have a buyer that's looking for a specific property that you go out and find it for them? But people don't have that mentality. So now they're totally dependent on listing agents to find that property to make it available for their buyer. So then what's the point of having a buyer's agent? Right?
So
So think about that.
here's one, Jose. So I have a listing that's been in my community for like the past 3 months because the builder's dumping prices out. Ernie, you know them. So my house just went under contract last week. The 2 buyer's agents work for another brokerage. I'm not going to say who they are, but they're not good. So they've slacked on 2 different things. And I met the buyer. He came out because I live on the same street, and I showed it to him before the agents even came out with him. So that was great. So I got to know him. I gave my phone number. And then during this 1 week that I got to know him, he says, I want you to list my brother's house. Can you come over tomorrow? I don't want these girls to list it. So I got a listing appointment tomorrow from my listing that I have. So this is how you get business. When you do a good job and they see it, they want to hire someone powerful like you.
Remember, with a listing, and you're right, remember, with a listing, you have an 85% chance of getting paid. Great. With a listing, you have a compound effect, which means you sell your listing and you can potentially double end it by finding the buyer. Right? They're calling you off your sign.
Correct.
So one listing always leads to another transaction. Always. If you do things the way you're supposed to. Now, what benefit having a coach, I'm sure some of you want to know. What does something like that cost? Right? So what does it cost to have a coach?
I think probably a Mercedes-Benz. Because I could probably be owning a Mercedes-Benz if I, right? About that?
Yeah,
maybe?
so Mike Ferry specifically, because that's who we coach with, so that's all I know, price point wise, there's 2 tiers. There's one-on-one coaching and then there's Premier. Premier is $12.50 a month, and then one-on-one coaching is
$750, I think.
a month.
$750 a month.
Either way, you're getting a weekly call for 30 minutes with that coach every single week, where you're telling them about your wins, your losses, your struggles, how can they help you improve for the next week. So every single week you have that call with them, trying to grow your business, learn, become better, become more versatile in what you're doing to become the agent you want to become.
Do you think the top agents, the top listing agents in the country, do you think they have a coach?
Absolutely.
Sure.
100%.
You know,
Why? Because top athletes have a coach, right?
Yep.
They're the best at they're the best at what they do. Why do they need a coach? They need it. And just like the same thing, the top agents in the country, they get the most listings. They have a coach. And a lot of you might be thinking, wow, $1,250 a month. Do you know how much I would be able to benefit if I put that into my business by buying postcards and advertising, yada, yada? Yeah, that's true, you could, but are you? No. And do you know what direction or purpose to go with it? No. So if you have a coach will tell you specifically what to do, when to do it, why to do it, and they're going to hold you accountable every week. So if you know you have a call with your coach, do you think you're going to do the tasks that were set before you? Yeah.
I would hope so.
Otherwise, you're wasting money.
Yep.
And then when they call you, you're like, okay, did you do everything? What were your results? I didn't do anything. Okay, you just feel like a loser and you paid for it.
You have to do everything.
Yeah.
You know.
So what we're going to do is we're actually going to have you guys role play with one another. Okay. I wanted to thank you guys for coming out and kind of giving us some
Absolutely.
insight.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you so much for your time. And then I'm going to have you guys start role playing with one another, just so you can kind of get a feel for it. Okay.
Awesome.